go to it and then make a revised ordinance.
Because
a
this-
revision to the ordinance. Now, we are anticipating other revisions.
Tweaks.
As we go forward, because this is very complicated and it's a complex ordinance.
Well, and this seems like a, like I said, relatively small change, adding or lessee/operator, but it does change who's allowed to do what according to the ordinance, and that's kind of why we have the ordinance to begin with. So, but that's my suggestion, and I don't know, maybe you want to keep a list, start keeping a list of
that
those
down.
things
Yep.
that maybe get
Absolutely.
addressed.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I'm not sure I agree with your opinion, Amy, that that's a major change. Landowner or
Sorry, I didn't
lessee,
You're
it's,
opening the door to possibly someone coming in and having more of a commercial operation. What the solicitor told me when he reviewed the language for the change with changing the arterial street, because we were deleting language, and he said I had to make sure that I went out, and I did contact Cindy Harding and Mrs. Langridge to let her know about this. But he said because we're deleting the language, it's okay, but even that was a little perhaps iffy. So I don't think right now you want to go ahead and make that change. I think, as we've said, we're all going to have to kind of live and breathe
We
with
can
this.
discuss that once our turn, right?
Yes.
This is only the farm stand, Amy.
Yes, but right now it doesn't allow for that. And so that would be adding in language that is not in the ordinances right now. And I think his stance was it's okay if we were taking language out of that, because then the intent was not to open the door up for more things. So
I just to make it clear what I'm asking, there are lots of farmers who own their farm, but who lease it to someone else. And it is very reasonable to think that the person who is leasing that land might want to have a farm stand and sell some corn or sell some cheese or whatever.
the right to farm law, that's not a question. We can't regulate that. It would be the non-ag commodities. That would be the question. So in our roadside farm stand definition, the first part of it, the selling of anything that you're propagating on the farm, that's under the rights of farm law. Harris Township cannot do anything with that. The second part, the non-ag commodities, we're deleting the arterial road language because right now we do have one property that is selling non-ag commodities that's on an arterial street. We're taking the arterial street language out. That would be the only thing that would be subject to it would only be a property owner, not the lessee. The rest of it, though, if it's a leased farm and the person's growing corn or cheese or whatever, making cheese or whatever, and they want to sell that, that's under the right to farm law. We can't regulate that. That's perfectly fine.
Okay. I have lots of, not major issues, but little issues with this whole ordinance because it feels like we're regulating something that doesn't necessarily need regulating, and we're making it more complicated instead of making it more simple. Like Rebecca's question about the chart and what's allowed, and you were talking and 60 seconds in, my eyes are glazing over. Our ordinance should not be making the system harder to understand or for people to follow. It should make it simpler, clearer, easier. And this particular point about who can do what at a roadside stand, it feels like we're adding layers of complication that we don't need to add. Just my opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else want to talk? Do we have anybody else that wants to make any comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. I have a motion to adjourn, second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, let's go to our regular meeting. Okay, at the regular meeting, first thing on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for February 14th, 2022 public hearing and February 14th, 2022 regular meeting. Do I hear a motion to approve those minutes?
You have it, sir.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any additions, subtractions, anything that anybody wants to comment on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay, tonight, now we're on to citizens' comments for a regular meeting. This would be any comments any citizen wants to make that is not on the agenda tonight. Please hold your comments to 5 minutes. We ask, please, and come to the microphone and state your name. So, does anybody have anything they want to talk about that's not on the agenda? Yes, Harvey. Yeah.
Yeah, Harvey Hanlon. I have a question. Somebody told me today, I'm just curious the status of this. Somebody told me today that there is going to be parking in front of where the building I own is, that they're taking some of the land to create parking on the street. Is there something to that?
Well, isn't it?
Okay, now that's fine. I mean, I just am curious as the owner.
But let's see.
What?
I think Bruce can hear. Bruce, can you hear us now?
Sounds good.
Okay. Okay, sorry, Harvey.
I try to yell a lot louder for you in Australia, Bruce. No, I was curious because I just heard it today. I hadn't heard anything about it. So this is a rumor, is
It's
that
a
right?
rumor, yeah. We were
Good.
discussing some solutions to the village parking conundrum, as I like to call it. And it was suggested by someone that we consider adding parking spaces to the Diamond. I will say it's a hot topic that is not really one that I'm in favor of. And I don't think the supervisors are in favor of it. So nothing's happening. That's just a rumor. It's rumor mill works fast, yes.
Loose lips sink ships.
That's good. It's good people are talking.
Okay, does anybody else have any citizens' comments they would like to make? All right, hearing none, we're going to move on to new agenda items. This is for the supervisors. Anybody that wants to add an agenda item to the agenda tonight, now's the time for that to speak up.
I don't want to add it, except if we have time, I want to initiate discussion on two things, which we should start, which don't have to be voted on for the agenda. One of them would be our sign lighting illumination. The section of our sign lighting has to do with illumination.
Okay.
And the other one would be the tent artisan situation. We need to just.
Are you talking about the?
Well, it isn't the peddler's ordinance, because peddler ordinance, as far as I'm
We're going to
concerned.
bring that back next month.
Well, we need
didn't
to
have
maybe,
time
if we
to
have time, we'll discuss a little bit tonight, but yes.
Okay, so you
Those
want,
two things.
so you want to add
Well, I don't want to add them, I'm
artisan
just saying, if we have time, we can discuss them. And it doesn't have to be added to the agenda.
and illumination.
Yeah.
You kind of tell me we got tonight.
All right, does anybody have any objections to doing that? Bruce, do you have any objections, anybody?
Depending how late it
Yeah,
is
we
tonight.
will look at that. If we have time, we can discuss that. I'll just put it in here in no particular order, but
Fine.
we'll get it in.
The manager's report.
I'll manage that for you. Yeah, we'll take it out, take out the manager's report. Yeah. All right, moving on, we're gonna go to township business. And first thing on the agenda is our proposed ordinance 348. And, are you gonna go back and read all that
No,
again?
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not. I will read the proposed revision to the
Yes,
roadside
do-
farm
do
stand if you
that
want,
so
if
we
you're okay
can-
with that change.
Yes, do that so we can move on from there.
So the proposed,
Hold on, before,
Yes.
we have to do that in two motions.
I
Or
would
can we
make
do it
them-
all in one?
I think you can make it all in one, but I think you
Okay.
maybe want to make a separate, like, yes, we're okay with changing that language.
Okay,
Because
go
then I
ahead
can
then.
change that tomorrow. I already made the other change that Mr. Immel brought to my attention.
Okay, gotcha, go ahead.
Okay, so the proposed revision to address the concerns that Mrs. Langridge brought up would be a roadside farm stand shall be accessory to an active on-site agricultural operation. Non-agricultural commodities can be sold so long as no more than 200 square feet of the total floor area of all roadside farm stand related structures are dedicated to such.
And that would replace the one with the arterial roads and
Yes,
roads.
it takes out the arterial road.
And just for, what, I think that's on page, is that the one on page 4A? There, roadside stand regulation A?
Yes.
That's that section right in there that we're gonna
Yep.
replace?
And she was talking about B to A and.
Yeah, right here, that section right there. Okay, anything, any of my colleagues wanna discuss that, or anything that, we have going on with this?
But I think somewhere along the line, we're going to have to clarify that. I'm not sure, listen to this, that what Cindy has said would restrict anybody from putting a roadside stand in there.
Anybody can put a roadside stand in.
But I'm not sure that would, who has to give permission?
It's
If the owner gives permission, or the owner designee, which would be a leasee,
Yeah.
I think that would be covered. I don't know I don't know that that's going to be problematic.
Yeah, I don't know that we're gonna split hairs over it. I think what we're trying to guard against, right, with having the limit on the square footage, is that we don't want someone to come in and say, oh, I'm gonna put a Unimart on the farm.
I understand all those concerns and blah, blah, blah.
That's our
But as
concern.
far as who can put that up, I don't know that this ordinance would restrict anybody as long as the owner or owner designee, which would be a leasee, would be able to do that. I don't see a problem. I don't see an issue there.
Arguing against circles.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think,
It's a circular argument right now.
Yes.
I think
yes.
you're in agreement with the roadside.
I think what I would like to see here is, I would like to hear a motion that we would change that language in the roadside farm stand regulation, and we'll make that motion and pass it, then we'll go on to the ordinance.
Okay.
And make this.
You understand?
We'll change it to what is in
To
here.
what's in here.
To take out
Yes,
the-
okay.
Okay, all right. So if somebody wants to make that motion, second, we'll discuss it, and then we'll vote on that.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion from Denny. Do I have a second?
I will second.
Okay, we got one. We'll give it to Australia.
He was loud.
We'll give it to the Australia
He's the
guy.
loudest. He was the loudest.
Yeah, he came a little further way. Okay, so any discussion on that? Does anybody have any comments or anybody understand or don't understand it? Make it clear. Everybody okay? Nigel, you okay, Bruce, with that?
He seconded it.
Yes. Well, I just want to make sure he understands it. Okay.
Good.
Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of making that a modification signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next up, before we start the discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance 348. Does anybody want to make that motion?
I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion on the table to approve ordinance 348. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Anybody want to have any comments or questions as a board? Anybody have any questions? Or?
I don't have questions, but I want to make a couple of comments. I've been involved in this project, in this ordinance for how many years?
10.
And I actually want to thank people for the perseverance that you've given
For reading it.
everybody to get together and put this together. It involved the residents, it involved the planning commission, it involved staff, it involved us. And I think it's a really true example of how townships should work. Having been on the state board for 10 years, I've seen a lot of examples where they did not work. And I think this is an example of cooperation that actually is coming to something that's going to be useful to the agricultural community, because we're vitally interested in maintaining agriculture in the township. It's taken a lot of discussion, taken some heated arguments and some cool arguments, but we've worked our way through those and have I don't know how many sheets of yellow paper now I think is finalized. I just want to thank people for the perseverance in staying with us in getting to this point. You all, thank you.
Anybody else?
Well, the only comment I have is
Go ahead.
that as we go through, we'll find out. I'm confident that we have covered steep slopes and the mountainsides sufficiently. I guess when we first get challenged on that, someone wants to build something on the side of the mountain here, we will find out if that works or not. So I'm confident we've done a good job there.
Nigel, do you have anything you want to say?
No?
Okay, Bruce, you have anything you want to comment on?
Nope, I'm glad we're at this point.
And I will second everything. I think this has been I think it's done the right way, and I'm sure that somewhere in here there's a lot of, this is pretty entailed, as we've all read. Somewhere in here, something like Bud said, somebody's going to want to build something somewhere that we may have to go in and take a look at it. But overall, I think we've covered a lot of bases in this.
And amendments are pretty easy to work with.
Yes, we can do
versus
amendments.
starting from base on this
Yeah.
thing, so.
Once we have this done, amendments are easier. This is the hard part. We'll get this done.
As long as we have a translator here. for
Yes,
the
yeah, we have a
tables.
translator,
The
so-
tables, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah. All right, hearing no other comments, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Boom. Oh, should we break now for the fireball, or are we gonna do that later?
I'm just taking the time to pop a champagne.
Yeah. All right, where are we at? Okay, moving on. Next on the agenda is the 2021 audit presentation. Who's doing that?
So we have Dustin from Meyer Duzel, who is on the Zoom, and he's sharing his screen, and he's going to give us the audit. Dustin, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. I can hear good.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Also with me is Lindsay Dybert from our State College office. Lindsay did most of the hands-on audit testing for the 2021 audit. She's going to cover some of the financial highlights within the audit. I'm going to go over some of more of the administrative matters. If there's anything in particular that you would like us to cover, or if you have any questions on a particular area, just stop me and I can go into a little bit more detail. But our handout's meant to be a brief overall run through of the reports that we issue, as well as the financial highlights for 2021. So reports issued, the DCD annual audit and financial report, that has been finalized and submitted to the DCD at this point. The legal advertisement, which will be ran in a local publication, which is a summarized financial statement that's derived from the DCD annual audit and financial report. And then the communication of those charged with governance. This is a standard letter that we were required to make certain communications to those charged with governance. So to touch on the communication of those charged with governance, our responsibilities under generally accepted auditing standards is to provide an opinion on the financial statements. Our opinion is financially driven. We're required to understand internal controls, and based off of that understanding, we design what our planned scope and timing of the audit. Also, if we come across any things that we consider to be material weaknesses or significant deficiencies in the internal controls, when we gain our understanding, we're required to report that back to management. We did not identify any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies in the internal controls of the township. Significant accounting policies, there were no new adopted accounting policies for 2021. Often financial statements have accounting estimates. However, there was no significant estimates found within your financial statements. The DCD report allows you to submission of your audit without any disclosures. So you'll find no disclosures found within your financial statements. We had no difficulties encountered in performing our audit. No significant corrected and uncorrected misstatements. That's very important because the information that you're seeing, the financial data is very consistent, exactly consistent with what the audit financial statements look like. So you're not seeing a lot of adjustments to get you in congruent with reporting policies. So the information that you have in front of you that you're reviewing throughout the year is actually the numbers that are being audited as well. It's not a lot of year-end adjustments to get you to that format. We had no disagreements with management. At the conclusion of our audit, we obtained management representations, which is simply a letter that states that everything that we asked for, the inquiries that we made was provided to us, was factual and complete. We're not aware of any other consultants with independent accountants, and we just had normal discussions, none of which that were contingent upon us being retained as the independent auditors. Any questions on the communication with those charged with governance letter? Okay, to move on to the summary of the results. The independent auditors report for 2021, there was a complete change in audit reports among all audits. So there were some big changes in the auditing world for all of us auditors that changed the language and the format of the reports. However, the results are the same as what they've been in the past. As I mentioned, the DCD report is a special report that's only found within the United States of Pennsylvania. Therefore, it's considered to be a regulatory basis filing. So this report is not the same as other financial statement found within another state. So our report first starts saying that there's an adverse opinion on generally accepted accounting principles. That would be a reporting framework that is used nationally, whereas you're only required to report to DCD. So therefore, when we put those financial statements in a regulatory basis, what they want to see, we're able to provide an unmodified opinion, essentially a clean opinion on that particular document. So consistent with results with what's been in the past.
So here to show a basic overview of your year-end fund balances. Total fund balance is about $1.1 million. Some of your bigger numbers in there, the general fund at about 4 million or 400,000, excuse me. capital projects at 286, and liquid fuels at about 173. And then here we'll just show your fund balance changes for 2021. Beginning balance for the general fund was about 476,000 and decreased approximately 78,000. And then over to the special revenue fund, it had a beginning balance of about 1.1 million and decreased approximately 726,000. And just to note that this is mostly due to about $820,000 worth of transfers to the Bolsberg Fire Company for capital and operating purchases. And then over to your capital projects fund, beginning balance about 273 and increased approximately $12,000.
Any questions on the financial highlights? I will mention the general fund. While there was a decrease for 2021, there's approximately 230,000 of ARPA federal funds that were received during the year as well. However, those funds are earmarked for specific projects and are considered to be deferred and not spent yet. So that would not be included within this results line item. So your cash did significantly increase, even though you had a decrease in fund balance at year end of approximately $78,000. This is our contact information here. If you have any questions regarding the audit process or any questions throughout the year, please feel free to reach out to one of us.
Got a couple points to make, or questions. The
Sure.
first table, line item 260269, long-term liabilities, is that the loan on the maintenance building?
Yes.
The 3.4?
Yes.
Okay. Next table down, 310.10 is.
Are you referring to the DCD report at this point?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You're not referring to my slide, correct?
He's looking at the DCD.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, just give me 1 second while I open up that document just to make sure we're on the same page. Okay, go ahead, sir.
And the second point, the 310.10 real estate transfer tax, that's a very healthy number, isn't it? Compared to what we budgeted?
That's double what we budgeted.
More than double, isn't it?
That's double.
Yeah, you'll see that a lot of, or I should say, some of your peers have seen a big increase in that as well too. We're kind of seeing that across the board in a lot of areas where there's significant development. With the shutdown of COVID, there was kind of a slowdown and now a resurgence of buying properties and that real estate tax coming as well. And that happens before you start seeing the buildings. So
Oh, yeah.
it's kind of upfront, paid upfront when the property's purchased, and then you'll see the development happen after.
Also involves the general sale of real estate between two parties.
Yes.
The third question is, where does the American Rescue money appear in these charts? Does it or doesn't it?
Dustin can answer that.
No, so what you'll see if you go to the very first page, you'll see other current liabilities of $263,950. That is not considered spent yet because you have certain projects that's going to be earmarked for and used, but has not been spent during 2021, which you'll be spending in the upcoming future. So you match the revenue with the expenses as you incur it. So as you spend that down, that will be pulled over to current year revenue and current year expense and essentially cancel themselves out.
And Denny, it is noted under the federal, under 351.00, we did spend $387,387.
Where?
That's the lost revenue item that we
When
were
is the second American Rescue money coming in? Isn't there another
this summer.
coming in
Yes.
2022?
This summer.
And most of that's targeted for the Elizabeth,
We're gonna do it.
Bridge project?
Yeah, for Mary Elizabeth Street, but then we're entering into an agreement with the Center County MPO to get 80% of that project cost back. The project cost is
Okay,
600-some
okay.
thousand, so we'll get some of that money
We'll be
back.
separately audited on that.
Yes, we will be.
Well, that's a nice unexpected chunk also to help us with the bridge.
Yes.
Good, thanks, that's it.
Any other questions?
Where's my pen?
Knew that was coming. Nigel,
Well,
anything?
just wanted to say thanks for the feedback and everything that we received in getting the audit performed. We've had this finalized for a week now, so we're well ahead of the filing deadline of December 31st. And just thank you to Amy and everyone at the township for providing all the information we requested, very timely.
Thank you, Dustin.
Thank you.
There he is.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Okay. Any other things? We don't have to pass, we don't have to make a motion to pass. We're gonna discuss. Anybody have anything else they want to talk about?
On the
audit?
On the audit?
No, let's move on.
Can we lower
Well,
taxes? We can lower
yeah,
taxes.
No, we can't. Bolsberg Car Company site plan. I think is that you, Mark?
Todd's gonna do
Oh,
it.
Todd,
Todd's on the
where's-
Zoom.
Oh, he is on there. Hi, Todd.
Howdy. On February 7th of this year, staff received from architect Paul Lair a site plan for 400 Bull Avenue, the former bank property that was purchased by the owners of the Bolsberg Car Company at 334 Bull Avenue. The new owners propose to establish an automobile-related business on the property and must complete a change in use zoning permit process to do so. Actual submission of a change in use zoning permit application must be preceded by staff approval of a site plan, in this case, because since a FEMA map floodplain exists within 100 feet of the north property line of the subject property. The zoning ordinance requires review of such site plans by the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors prior to action by staff on the site plan. 2 reviews of the plan have been completed, the second of which was included with the agenda, as well as a plan sheet showing what is existing / proposed. The only addition or alteration to the existing structure proposed at this time is the enclosure of the former bank's drive-through area, so that space can be converted to interior space. All the comments from the first and second round of reviews have been addressed. The Planning Commission reviewed the plan at their February meeting, and a revised plan was submitted and reviewed for this meeting. The board can provide any recommendations they deem appropriate prior to staff action on the plan.
So this is a discussion item.
Yeah.
So I'll open it up for discussion. Anybody have anything they want to ask or comments they want to make on
I
the?
spoke to Todd today and was wondering if the FEMA floodplain applied to this, what's called the creek. Actually, that creek is called Tannery Run. And apparently FEMA did not map that stream. They mapped the one on the other side of the street, but didn't map that. And it's actually more than an intermittent stream, it flows. Yeah, so. I was concerned about the 100-foot setback with respect to the car parking, but apparently we can't do anything about it. So, that's all, that's my point.
Riparian buffers, we have that control over that.
But it's not a FEMA floodplain.
It's still riparian buffer. It's our riparian buffer, though.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So they still have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anybody else? You have anything you want to comment on? Yeah, I don't have any comments on it. I mean, it's pretty much just same. He's not really disturbing what's
That's why we're
there.
going to discuss our slime illumination ordinance later.
Oh, okay. We'll do that later. Anybody else have anything else they want to describe or discuss about that? Any comments from the audience on that? Okay, hearing none, let's move on to the next one. 420 Bolsberg Avenue site plan.
On December 1st of 2020, staff received a site plan for review of a prospective lessee, the former beer distributor property on Bull Avenue. The lessee proposes to establish an automobile-related business on the property and must complete the change in use zoning process to do so, just as the previous site plan. All the stuff regarding the proximity to the FEMA map floodplain that I discussed with the first site plan applies to this plan also. 5 reviews of this site plan have been completed to date. The most recent of which was included with the agenda, as well as a copy of a section of the site plan showing the existing building and existing proposed parking for the project. A full-size copy of the plan was posted on the wall behind you sometime today, so you could look at it. No additions or exterior alterations to the existing buildings that are proposed at this time. Most of the comments have been addressed at this point, which is why the plan was placed on the board's agenda for this meeting. The Planning Commission reviewed the plan in February. Again, the board can provide any recommendations they deem appropriate. We, as staff, anticipated seeing a revised plan after the Planning Commission meeting, and Mark and I actually had a Zoom meeting with one of the representatives from this group prior to the Planning Commission meeting, and indicated that we would like to see a revised plan after the Planning Commission meeting, and we were told that we would, despite trying to contact the applicants a couple times since that Zoom meeting, well in advance of the February Planning Commission meeting. We've not heard from them, and we didn't ever receive a revised plan, so we'll try and get in contact with them again after this meeting to let them know the current status of their site plan.
Question. The revised site plan would offer these questions you have on here, Article, Chapter 12, Article 2, and Chapter 12, Article 5 and 7. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the yellow sheet, the four comments that still remain. We were hoping after the Planning Commission meeting in February that we would see a revised plan that addressed those comments, and we haven't seen anything.
I guess we'll hear from somebody from there.
Anybody else have comments or questions?
Other than the FEMA floodplain maps, because it wasn't shown, it would apply to this one too. Are there 22 parking spaces driven by Township ordinance, or is that a voluntary number, Todd?
No, it's not voluntary. The ordinance requires a certain number of spaces. My recollection is that 19 parking spaces are required, and they're offering 22. So if that's the case, they're providing 3 more than what the ordinance requires.
That's based on the square footage under cover, isn't it, building size?
Yeah, I think it's the term in the ordinance is the gross floor area of the establishment is what the parking requirement's based upon.
Does that undercover space include the existing building that's staying to the back that Hill is going to retain?
No, the applicant indicates that they are not leasing that building. They won't have access to that, and it won't be used for their business.
Okay. Thank you.
The only comment I have on it, and I may have driven around that business when it was the old business it used to be a couple times around that. It's awful tight. It's awful tight out back there.
The Saab dealership, you mean?
Yeah. It's awful tight back there. Are they gonna?
What business are you talking?
I don't remember, but it was a business there. I went around back a couple times.
Where?
Where this was at? Bud, the beer distributor. Jeez, Bud.
Oh.
Anyway, it's awful tight back there. Are we gonna be able to get that many parking spaces around there that people can actually use? Or are they gonna be there for, I mean, do these meet the requirements of how big they have to be and everything? I mean, that looks awful
They
tight.
do. Now they do a parking space. The minimum size of a parking space is 9 by 18. So you can see some of those spaces are actually bigger than that. Particularly the ones I think 21 and 22. They're bigger than that. But yeah, it's a tight site, but it appears to meet all the ordinance requirements.
And it's a circular traffic pattern too.
Yes.
Basically a one-way pattern.
Well, I have a question, Todd. Your recommendation is that we approve this waiver, well, approve this motion, which has a lot of things there.
We're not approving any
But-
motion. This is Bull Avenue.
This is only discussion, okay.
Yeah, it's not,
Okay,
we jumped ahead.
okay,
Back up.
okay.
Any other comments on this one? Anybody? Bruce, you have anything you want to say?
Yeah, I'm kind of questioning, I'm not sure what we can do about it, but if this is going to be an automobile-related business, and some of those spaces are essentially dedicated to displaying automobiles, that's really reducing the number of spaces available for people visiting the business, for customers. And comment, Todd.
Yeah, we actually talked about that at the planning commission meeting. Our ordinance doesn't differentiate when it talks about required parking for an automobile-related business, what spaces have to be dedicated to customers and what spaces have to be dedicated to the display of automobiles. I don't know if it shows up on your plan. I think it shows up on the big plan, and it might show up in your plan. If you'll notice at the front, we had them designate, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spaces specifically for customer parking. They agreed to do that, and the accessible space, I guess 2 accessible spaces are also in the front there that they obviously can't put any display vehicles in. So they have 10 or so parking spaces that they're dedicating to customers out of the 19 that they're required to provide.
It's been an interesting challenge for them.
Yeah. Yeah, and another thing we talked about at the planning commission is that this is something that's really self-policing, because if any automobile business doesn't provide enough parking for their customers to show up, they're probably not going to show up, which is going to kind of defeat the purpose of them running an automobile-related business. We had Eric Allen at the planning commission meeting discussing his site plan, and he said his experience, all of his years of selling cars is, particularly for cars that are being serviced, is people pull right up in front of the door, get out, throw the keys inside and leave, and they don't worry about parking spaces. He said he sees that more often than not, and people will park in whatever space is closest to the door, also to drop their vehicle off for service or to visit the lot. So I guess there's a slim chance that it might be a problem, but based upon the discussions we've had, we don't think it's going to be a problem.
I don't see a designation for a handicap spot in this plan, Todd. Is there? None of the.
There are 2 on the front of the building. Space number 4, if you see the HP1,
Oh, okay.
and then to the right,
Okay.
to the right of that, space
number
number
2?
5 is HP.
Okay. Right opposite the pull-out door.
Right.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any other questions or comments or discussion? Hearing none, let's move on. Okay, Bull Beer Works Incorporated Final Lease Development Plan.
On February 24th of this year, staff received from developer Gordon Kaufman III a final land development plan for the proposed brew pub facility on the Bull Mansion and Museum property at the corner of Old Bolsberg Road and Bull Avenue. Harris Township had approved the preliminary version of this plan a few months ago. One review of the plan has been completed, copies of which were included with the agenda, as well as the plan sheet showing what is proposed, some signature clarification, the posting of surety for public improvements, and a few minor technical items remain outstanding as the agenda was prepared. All items should be addressable in a short time period. Staff's recommendation is to move to approve the Bull Beer Works Incorporated Final Land Development Plan contingent upon satisfactory completion of the comments from the March 9, 2022 memo of the principal planner, the March 9, 2022 letter of the zoning officer, and the March 9, 2022 letter of the township engineer.
Okay, do I have a motion to that effect?
For discussion, yes.
Yes. Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Yeah.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that, on this plan?
Couple questions, Todd. Under the first page, chapter 11, article 4, it's I think it's a procedural question. but it reads, please clarify how the Bolsberg Fire Chief signature block was executed on the final plan prior to the plan being accepted for review by the township. Can you explain that, how the process worked and why that signature was put on something that we didn't review? It happens as
I think,
there's another.
yeah, I think,
Go
I
ahead.
think we know how it happened, but I think we're asking for clarification of that. I'm interested in seeing what the response is from the applicants.
I too. I'm not sure, it should be on the table tonight because of that procedural issue.
Is Mr. Kaufman here?
Well, no, I think there was an issue with the applicant due to the fact that gaining the signature from the person who had to sign the plan. I think they got the preliminary plan and the final plan signed at the same time. If Mr. Kaufman's there at the meeting, he can probably provide a better explanation than I could.
Yes, he is, and we're gonna recognize
Yes.
Mr. Kaufman right now.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thanks, Todd. So yeah, I had the preliminary and final plan signed by the owner in a tedious process. And so I felt like, yes. So this being my first land development plan, I brought both the preliminary and the final to everybody that we needed to sign the signature blocks. And so I didn't force anybody to sign the final plan. I presented it to everybody and they went ahead and signed it. I was actually just trying to be efficient with the process.
You probably saved yourself a lot of time.
I
doing
regret
it.
that I didn't follow the procedure, but yeah, that was my plan.
Well, I just read it.
It met all the requirements, though.
Oh, yeah, it better
Yeah.
everything, but I was sort of interested in making sure that it followed some procedure.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
Yeah. And I did that with both the engineer and the fire chief, so.
And I guess the other major question is, did the owner's name of record get cleared up, and who's what, where, and?
So, to this point, no. So the owner feels that the county is in error, and so I'm having my attorney evaluate that.
So the owner thinks it's, what was the old Boley Real Estate Trust? And it's listed as Matilda Boley Trust, is that?
It's listed with the county now as the Matilda Boley Trust. The owner believes that the correct name for the trust is the Bull Real Estate Trust.
So that's between those two parties?
Yes.
Well, not
is
missing here.
What's that?
Mrs. Ball was passed
Well,
away.
we don't, yeah, but.
Yeah. So the owner believes that that the county is incorrect and it was made in error. So we're trying to correct that now.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah. Well, it's not like it's the first challenge I faced in this project. So as you guys probably figured out, I'm pretty persistent. So
So that's sort of a
Yeah.
major one, so.
yeah, I understand. Sure.
My only question on why I have you here, every time I drive by that property and I come back and I look at this plan, I still can't visualize getting this on that property.
It's shoehorned in there, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's really tight. I just hope that, I hope it looks good when it's done, but yeah, it just, every time I look at it, it just looks really a tight fit.
My main comment in red is parking. Yeah. Until the business opens and you see how fortunate you are with customers, you may end up with parking on that road. And how do we anticipate that?
Well,
Because there is no parking on that little entry road, is there?
We can't anticipate that. He's meeting our parking requirement, and Todd can answer that, but with anything, if there's a problem in the future, I mean, I think the Naked Egg in Ferguson's a good example. They have parking and then they are a very busy business. It's a good problem to have. I don't think that's a bad thing, so we would address that in the future.
How many spaces are you anticipating for parking in that?
So the requirement is 1 per 100 square feet. So and there's 2,500 square foot building going there. So 25.
25 parking
Yeah,
spaces.
yeah.
Where's it anticipated?
The entire parking lot is on the north, to the north of the building.
This section?
Here, not in here. Yeah, it's,
Yeah, it's not on
pretty
that
good size.
plan. You don't have the parking plan.
Oh, okay, because all I see is honeysuckle and the service
oh, it's over there.
So it's,
Okay, it's all over
Yeah,
there.
it's being highlighted on that plan there. That's the
okay,
building. It's
okay.
right above it. To the north.
the top corner.
That's correct. Yeah, yep.
What, you're gonna spill your stuff.
I would point out also that as part of the preliminary plan process, since Old Bolsberg Road, as it goes past this property on both sides, it doesn't have a cartway width wide enough to provide parking even on one side. So as part of the preliminary plan approval, we're requiring that no parking signs be posted on both sides so that there can be no overflow parking on the street.
And that's a proactive move on our part. To keep
Sure.
traffic off the street.
Yeah, no, understood. Yeah, it's, yep.
Any other comments or questions? Bruce, you have anything on that one from down under?
No, I'm good.
Bud? Nope. Anybody else? Okay. Hearing no other comments, all those in favor of the motion on the table signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Okay, we're going to the next one. This would be number F, Lingle Minor Subdivision Plan. You got that one, Todd?
Yeah, on January 13th of this year, staff received from Pentair Engineering a minor subdivision plan for the Carl and Bruce Lingle property in Linden Hall. The plan proposes to create one new lot of 24.416 acres from the 152.773 acre farm. On-lot water and sewer facilities do and will serve both lots of the proposed subdivision. 2 reviews of the plan have been completed, the second of which was included with the agenda as well as the plan copy showing what is proposed. A few comments remain. It is believed that they can be addressed in a timely fashion by the applicants. 2 waiver requests have been submitted. First, due to the large size of the property, a waiver of the plan scale, Chapter 11, Article 3, Section 1 has been submitted. Staff has no objection to this waiver request. Second, a waiver related to the marking of the riparian buffer areas, area limits has been submitted involving Chapter 11, Article 4, Section 14D4, which requires the placement of riparian buffer markers at 50-foot intervals at the edge of both sides of a riparian buffer on a subdivision or land development plan. In this case, active farm fields and other features would be rendered less usable with the marker spacing required by the ordinance, and staff generally agrees with the reduction proposed in all the areas represented by the color representations in an exhibit that was both attached to the waiver request and as one of the plans. Looks on Zoom as if it's right above Frank's head there on the wall behind you. While we would like to see more than 22 riparian buffer markers for more than 6,000 lineal feet of riparian buffer edge, which would require about 120 markers, the applicant insists that the waiver request proposal represents the most markers that are feasible. We have to point out that the township engineer offered in his review that an alternate location be considered for the riparian buffer markers. Instead of placing the markers at the edge of both sides of the buffer, the suggestion was to require the markers at the edges of the existing FEMA floodway so that more area could be marked for protection, but at a width that is less than the ordinance requirement. Staff was told that some of the floodway is currently used for agricultural operations, which would make strict adherence to the floodway area problematic, but a variation of the recommendation of the township engineer could be considered. Staff's recommendation, number 1, move to approve the waiver request to Chapter 11, Article 3, Section 1. Move to decide the waiver request of Chapter 11, Article 4, Section 14D4, which involves the location of the riparian buffer markers at 50-foot intervals. And move to approve the Lingle Minor Subdivision Plan contingent upon satisfactory completion of the comments from the February 23rd, 2022 email of the Bolsberg Fire Chief, the February 24, 2022 letter of the zoning officer, the February 25th, 2022 memo of the principal planner, and the March 3, 2022 letter of the township engineer.
All right. Do we, I guess the question is, do we want to, since we're gonna decide this waiver request for the riparian buffers, do we wanna pull that out of this motion and handle that as a separate motion and then do the rest? Does that sound the most efficient?
That's the easiest way to do it.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion for 1, 3, and the rest of it, and we'll pull number 2 out.
So moved.
I have the so moved on that one.
Second.
We have a second. Okay, let's open this one up to discussion. Bud, I think earlier you were gonna go on you were talking about waivers earlier. Did you have something on this?
I was?
Well, you started going on about waivers early on. I thought you were on this.
Oh, no, no.
Okay.
No, no.
All right, does anybody have any discussion on this? They wanna, on any of
So
the,
you're moving, one is moved to approve the waiver for Chapter 11, Article 3.
yeah, that's the
And-
size.
The other one is moved to approve the Lingo subject plan contingent upon satisfaction of comments from the February 23rd email.
Yes.
Bullsburg Fire Chief,
Yeah,
okay.
that's the number 3 on, 1 and 3 on is what we
Well,
normally get.
I would suggest
yeah.
that you do number 1
Let's do
first.
each.
Oh, you wanna
And
do
then
them each at a time?
You need to do them
Let's do each,
separately, because you
yes.
can't approve the
Do you
plan
wanna-
until you
do you wanna
figure out the
modify
waiver
your motion
request.
to that? We're gonna do them one at a
That's
time.
fine, that's fine. That's
Just
okay.
Okay,
start
we're
with
gonna do
number
one.
1.
Nigel, you get a
One.
second?
Yeah.
Okay, we're all in agreement to that. So we're gonna just do number 1. Move to approve the waiver request of Chapter 11, Article 3, Section 1, Plan Scale.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on that.
We
Yeah, we
already
did.
did.
Yeah, these guys, you gotta catch up.
Way too quick for
You
me.
gotta catch up. Any comments on that? Hearing none. All those in favor of that signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that one passes. All right, let's go to number 2. Move to decide the waiver request of Chapter 11, Article 4, Section 14D.4, location of riparian buffer markers at 50-foot intervals.
Now, this is only markers we're talking about here.
That's correct.
And I agree, you can't plow around markers.
That's correct.
Am I
You
right?
can't move on markers.
Can't mow around
Correct,
markers, okay, or whatever. So that may be a legitimate request.
Yes. And the only question would be, how do we want to make sure it's marked? You know,
Telephone
significantly,
poles,
yeah.
telephone poles.
Yeah, telephone poles.
I'd like to ask John,
John, you're here. Would you come up and
join us, will you?
walk us through this? I know this
Yeah,
is,
walk me through the location of the 22, because I've got an alternate plan for you.
okay, well, personally, I don't know about the rest of you, but they put these out for 3 years. If I'm gonna forget, which I'm getting older and I forget, I'm gonna forget 10 or 20 years down the road, not in the first 3, but that's just my comment.
If it makes us do 1 year with you.
I know. Go
Thank
ahead.
you. I'm John Sepp from Pentair Engineering here representing the Lingles. Basically, there are 2 locations on the plan behind you that are not farmed. It's the area in green, which is a lawn area, and the yellow area adjacent to it, which is a field. And we are proposing to put the riparian buffers at the intervals in that yellow area, and then in strategic locations in the lawn area, along fence posts, next to buildings, et cetera, so it wouldn't be sticking out in the middle of a lawn. And it'll clearly show where the buffer is in those areas. The rest of the areas are either farmed or used for livestock and whatnot, and it just would not be practical to farm around those markers.
I'll give you a simplified version of that, John. Right there. And right here. That the 2 points where the new property line cross the FEMA point. I put a marker at each one of those. That's 2. Then I go down, follow the FEMA line, I come down here, go right there. That's 3. And I jump over and put one up here.
We do have one there.
Okay,
Dennis.
that's-
There is one right
That's
Yeah,
4.
we have those 2.
I put in 4. I
Okay.
think, I don't see any need for these. And I'm familiar with the area, I walk a lot. From here, it's pasture land. So we can accomplish what we want with 4 markers. And interestingly, these 2, that one and that one, would accomplish the marking of the floodplain going this way for the new parcel. So we have half of the new parcel already marked by putting the first two on the parent tract.
Let me give you a,
You like that one?
yeah, that'll work. I see heads shaking up and down.
And see,
That'll-
the other point we need to make is the new lot needs a marker here and needs a marker here.
Right,
So there are 4 here and 4 here. Let's keep it simple.
okay, that works. That works.
And what is gonna be the new lot? What are we putting in the new lot? Is that gonna be
They're
a
gonna
house?
continue to farm.
Oh, it's gonna be a farm, yeah, too, okay,
It's only going to be farmland.
okay.
It's going to continue exactly the way it is, except horses and cows.
Well, I was gonna say, horses can't read riparian buffer signs, neither can
They can't
cows.
eat it, they won't eat them either.
No, neither can cows.
Linda Hall and Molly's horses are really smart.
And
All right.
there is not going to be a housing development.
So then,
Well,
I guess,
the best part of
I'm good, we're good with that.
the best part of your property in terms of use is gonna be from the FEMA top line to Brush Valley Road. The rest of it from FEMA going to the Linda Hall Road is basically useless.
Right, correct.
It's got the stream in it, I think it's got a couple culverts in it. Is the old bridge? Yeah, the old bridge is there. The old railroad bridge is on that piece.
Continue to farm it as long as it's not raining, right?
I'm gonna keep farming just as it is. Nothing's
It's going to continue to farm it.
I'm just trying to keep it simple.
let's move on. Todd, or John, one of you, what do we need to put in this motion to reflect what we just said there?
Well, for those of us who aren't in the room, I guess I would ask for a point of clarification. Is what Dennis just proposed adding riparian buffer markers on the right side of this plan, or is it deleting riparian buffer markers?
Define right, Todd.
It's adding 2 on the right side of the plan.
Right now, you have riparian buffer marker here and here, here and here,
Yeah.
here and here. What Danny's saying is we leave these 2, and we take these 4 here, put 1 here and 1 here. and
Move
eliminate-
it to the property line.
In other words, one of these will go here, one will go here, and we get rid of the other 2,
And you're
correct?
suggesting, Denny, that we get rid of the ones that were proposed in the green and the yellow?
Yeah.
So Todd, he's suggesting getting rid of the ones in the green and the yellow and replacing them with, I think he said 4 total on the property. Might be 6 on the property line.
1, 2, 3, 4. It's eliminating 2 and put 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here.
Okay, so it's 4.
That took me hours and hours this afternoon to come up with something simple.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
That's
So
the easiest
how
thing to
many,
do.
how many riparian buffer markers would be on the new lot that's being created total?
4.
4.
That's less than what they have now.
That's correct.
But that would,
Well, that's
that would,
marking the riparian buffer less. What does that accomplish?
I didn't get that one, Todd.
Everybody understands where the riparian buffer is.
Can you come to the microphone, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, first let's define that.
Can you identify yourself for the note?
Yes, sir. My name is Crystal Henry. I live there and farm there as well. I think everybody knows exactly where the riparian buffer is. You can see it when you're there. Anytime that it rains, it's on every single map. It's noted. Anybody that looks at the map, it's marked on there. I mean, it's
Goes right here.
right. It's exactly. He's pointing at it right there. He's showing.
This one goes right here.
He's showing. So I mean, everybody knows exactly where it is. I'm not sure exactly what putting 17 or 20 or 40 stakes along there is gonna show anything or prove anything.
The riparian buffer is marked basically by the steers when they're sinking in up to their ankles in mud.
Right.
That's the riparian buffer.
And we are in enough I mean, we're not allowed to have any brown spots out there anyway by NRCS, USDA. Like, we're not allowed to have any brown spots, so we have to put them all in the barn as it is. I mean, what they're saying is, I mean, that makes a lot of sense to all of us. I mean, I'm just not sure what having 52 or 54 stakes down through the pasture that none of us can mow around is gonna prove anything.
don't argue your way out
No,
of my point.
I'm not
Yeah,
suggesting
I'm
that.
talking your way out of that one. Dennis,
Yeah, I'm not suggesting that either. My question was specifically on the new lot being created. It currently proposes 6 riparian buffer markers. The best I could tell from watching on Zoom is you're proposing to put one at the common property line of the new lot and the old lot at the
Right.
property line, both in the top and the bottom of that riparian buffer. Is that correct?
That's correct, Todd.
And the property to the
So
side,
instead,
the property to the right
So
there,
Let's finish this one first, Danny.
Okay.
Go ahead, Todd.
So instead of having 6 markers on that new lot being created there, my idea was just to have 8. Put those 2 in where I think Dennis is saying, and leave the ones on that 25-acre lot where they currently are. That would give you 8 on that lot, and leave the other ones on the left side of the plan where they are.
didn't quite follow all of it, but I think I agree.
So it would be 8 total on the new lot.
So
And then,
what you're saying, we're gonna leave these 2 and these 2 and just add 2.
and add 2, yeah.
Why do we need to leave the middle ones if we move 50 feet to the left? Because we pick up the barn here, here's the barn, we pick up one opposite the barn, we pick up one right here.
just move them over, what you're saying.
Yeah, Denny's just saying move them over.
Move them over.
These don't need to be there.
Denny's saying get rid of the
Well, I think
ones.
the upper ones on the 25-foot lot, or the 25-acre lot, I think those are pretty close to 50 feet apart, so they probably meet the requirement. The 2 at the bottom of that, closer to Brush Valley Road, they're side by side on the other side of the line, so if you wanted to remove one of those, that's fine, but I think where you have an opportunity to mark the riparian buffer, you ought to take advantage of it.
Bruce has his hand up.
Go ahead, Bruce.
Yeah, this is kind of, first place, I don't know what a motion to decide means. And so we're sitting here, we're trying to revise this plan on the go. Is this super time sensitive? Can we request that they come back with a marked up map so we can know exactly what we're talking about rather than pointing at the map and trying to, I'm confused. And I'd rather see something in writing that's definitive and then go up or down on it.
Bruce, it is very time sensitive, so we do have to decide you should try to decide the waiver tonight. You certainly don't have to, but.
At least agree on the concept.
Well, I think the
Well-
plan has to be done by the end of this month,
That's correct.
because the sale has to be completed.
Someone take a pen then and go mark that map. Don't
Dennis,
point
you're
at
in
it.
charge of that.
Do we have a highlighter?
Where's your Sharky?
You got a bigger one than I got?
Sharky.
Sharpie.
His marker will probably work better.
And
I just
can
want to
see
make
that
sure we're
zoom
up
in
to
there. Can CNET zoom in so we can see
Those
it?
are 4.
I don't think so.
No, you can't see them.
Here.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
Is that helping?
Those are 4 on this one, now put 2, there you go, okay.
Whoa, okay.
John, you didn't send this to us as a digital version, did you?
Okay, now what else?
One here.
Because we could share this.
I will trust the
I share my
judgment.
screen. At least.
I just wanted
This
to be
is
definitive.
what you're saying. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for the whole property. And the rest of this is pasture land?
Pasture land and cropland.
Pasture and crop.
Except for the green and yellow.
The green and yellow? Right here. That's where the house is at there, right?
This whole thing's being.
And the tops of the orange section is cropland.
Can you see that, Bruce?
No, I can't, but I'll trust.
Well, here, right here, Bruce. Right there, right there, right there, here, here, and here. So the 1, 2, 3,
That's
4,
good.
5, 6.
Yep, if they're written on the map, I'm happy.
There's basically no intrusion in agriculture.
Yeah, we're all happy. We're very happy with that.
All right. Does anybody else, Bob, Bud, do you have anything?
Which one? No, that's number 2.
Yeah, but we'll do, let's finish number 2 and then
Wait,
we'll go on.
Mark's gonna share a screen just so we can understand on the map.
Oh, okay. Oh, that looks good.
I think we did it, hold on.
I don't know if everybody can.
Oh, there, oh, it's on my screen.
That's the sun going
I think
down over
everybody
Lincoln's
on
farm.
can see it, but then it took it off of there because it's seeing on my screen. So, Todd, I'm just gonna just try to hover over where these are at.
Nice picture.
That's weird.
There we go. I don't know if Todd, can you see this?
We lost our
Can you
audience.
see my cursor? Yeah, so the markers that Dennis talked about would be here, 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 and here on the new lot. And then on the existing lot, they would be down here and here.
At the bridge.
At the bridge. Or along their drive, their roadway up to the house.
The bridge.
Yep.
We move it right.
What's this for?
So what you're saying is you're only gonna require them
What's
to
this number two
propose
moved it for?
6
What's that
total
for me?
repairing buffer markers?
Citation in the ordinance.
Yes, that is what is being proposed, Todd.
That seems terribly inadequate, but whatever.
Down to 3.
Well, I don't have a problem if it's field, like I said, cows and horses, they can't read, so they're gonna go in there whether we want them to or not, so.
All right, our livestock and Linden.
All right, anybody have any other further comments on this?
Do we have a motion on this one?
Yes, we do.
No, you haven't made a motion on
Oh,
this.
I thought we did.
You only made a motion and took care of the first one.
No, we made a motion for the second one.
No, Danny made a proposal and you didn't make a motion.
All right, we'll make a motion.
I counted Jan's input.
Okay, make a motion.
I'll make a motion that the total riparian buffer markers on the 2 parcels of land are 6, and as shown on the plan on the wall.
Do I have a second?
So we are limiting the 50-foot intervals. And put it-
Yes.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
Yes.
Okay, we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, let's move on to the next one. Number 3, move to approve the Lingle minor subdivision plan contingent upon satisfactory completion of the comments from the February 23rd, 2022 email of the Bolsberg Fire Chief, the February 24th, 2022 letter of the zoning officer, the February 25th, 2022 memo of the principal planner, and the March 3rd, 2022 letter of the township engineer. I have a motion for that.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Yes.
We have a second. Any comments, questions? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. Motion passed. Okay,
Thank you, John.
now let's move to the next section here. Okay, Resolution 2207. Who's presenting that?
That's Mark.
Okay, Mark, go ahead.
So this is a component 1 planning module for the subdivision that you just conditionally approved. As was already mentioned by Todd in his introduction, both of these parcels will be served by on-lot septic and water. They've identified both primary and secondary absorption areas for both parcels. Our recommendation is that you move to approve Resolution 2207, the planning module for the Lingle subdivision plan, and refer it to the Department of Environmental Protection for approval.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2207?
I have a question.
Well, you make the motion, we'll give you a
Motion, we got
question.
it.
You got a motion? I got a second. Nobody yet. Do I have a second for that motion?
Second.
We have a second, okay. Any comments or discussion? Do you have a question? Go ahead.
I have a question with respect to, okay, I was looking for the test pits on the parent tract, the new ones. They're back up here above the machinery shop, right? Up in that area? Okay, okay. I found them over here, but didn't see them over here, so, okay.
See him? They're right here. Oh, you're looking on the map. This one. Is that all? That was any questions?
Yes.
Okay, anybody else have any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to adopt a highway proposal.
Staff was contacted by a teacher at St. Joseph's Catholic Academy. A student group at the school is interested in adopting the Bolsberg Pike in front of the school as a service project. The group would keep the area litter-free as part of their project. Township does not currently have an Adopt a Highway program. I reached out to College Township, who shared their materials. We created the document that we included in your packet that would allow for groups that want to adopt our streets for service projects. So if you would like to review that attached document, determine if you're comfortable with it, and if you are, I can communicate back to St. Joe's.
Do we need a motion?
I would make a motion if you would like to
Okay,
do
do I
it.
have a motion to approve this?
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion.
My question is why?
Well, do you want to second it?
They're, what, 300 feet?
But they're not going to be the only ones that are going to want to do a project like this.
Do you want to second it?
No.
Then
We're
we're not
basically
commenting. Do you want to
voting.
second it? What? We
He
just
made
have
the
a
motion. I need a second.
We need a second. I'll second the motion. Oh, go ahead. We got Nigel. All right. The question is, I think this is not just for from my understanding, for the St. Joseph's Academy. Since we don't have this in the township, if anybody else wants to do
Right.
one, we would have paperwork going forward. Is that my understanding?
Yes, and in talking with Mr. Adelman, our maintenance superintendent, he said we actually did have kind of a rudimentary Adopt a Highway program years ago. So, I mean, this just kind of solidifies what you need to do and you know, mimics, I think Half Moon Township actually had one of these at one point as well, so.
Within the Hall Village Association took care of Brush Valley Road from the school all the way down to the College Township line.
That's the state.
What is it?
Part of it is.
What is it?
You
From
do
the-
without an ordinance?
From
How dare you.
the school.
Stop.
How dare you?
From the school, going past Tom Yonder's place, going up to the S curve down to College Township, that's our road.
Well, this just solidifies what we would do and what we'll provide as a township.
Is the board liability in there strong enough? Did you pass this, Pat? Pat?
Did not pass it by Pat, but I'm assuming it probably went by College Township solicitor.
Okay. That was the first thing I thought
Well,
about.
I guess I'm willing to go ahead and move this on, but I think that even in doing that, I think this should be forwarded to either staff or the planning committee, or somebody that looks this over and makes sure that.
I'll send it to the solicitor.
Yeah, because like you said, this is one of the other townships, and that's fine, but I think we need to make sure that it's looked at.
And that we protect ourselves.
Yes, and that we're protected on it. So, with that in mind, I have a motion and a second on the table. Does anybody have a problem with approving that motion? If not,
What is the frequency for this?
So this allows them to do it as a one-time project, or they can do it longer. It doesn't matter to us.
So,
Can we,
This would be like a one-off.
can we withdraw the motion and simply move it to the planning commission?
It doesn't need to go to the planning commission. Planning
well,
commission,
that isn't gonna help.
planning commission doesn't have anything to do with it at all.
let's
Adopt a
let's have
highway.
staff.
Okay.
I think we're in favor of this type of thing.
I'll have the solicitor
But
look
let's have
at
the
it.
staff look it over. I think that's more appropriate. Bruce, you have anything on that you would want to say?
My one, I have not seen this document. It wasn't in what was sent to me. That's not a problem. My one question or comment is, most places I see that do this, there are signs placed acknowledging the sponsorship of whoever is taking care of that section of road, and I'd like to see that included.
Okay, we can add that. We had in here that, and I'm sorry this didn't make it in your packet. We had in here that we would put acknowledgement on our social media and in the e-newsletter as well, and also the website.
The state uses it on Speedway too, there's a sign by Meyer Dairy.
Yeah.
This highway,
Well, those signs encourage other people to participate in a like manner.
All right, so let's do that. Let's let's withdraw are you guys willing to withdraw your motions? Okay, we have our motions withdrawn. Let's send this to staff.
To the
and
solicitor.
with the direction that we do approve of doing this and we want the form vetted.
Right, you want to send it to the solicitor, not to
Solicitor and
staff.
everybody have it vetted and make sure we're covered.
Yes.
And if we want to add signs, put that down here.
I will take care of that. I'll send it
Okay.
to the solicitor, but you're okay because the group would like to get moving. So I'll
Yep,
let them
that's
know.
fine.
Once the solicitor approves it, we're good with going.
Okay, good to go.
and we need to thank them for the willingness to do it.
I already did.
Okay, moving on. The code approve a board of appeals appointment. You know, I think we've done this. I don't know how many meetings I've sat in and approved these two guys.
move to approve.
So I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any
Second.
comments? Oh, we got that. Any comments? Good. Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody,
Yes.
yeah, anybody opposed? I didn't get that out quite fast. Hearing none, motion carries. Okay, next, request for CNET sponsorship.
The Friends of the Pennsylvania Military Museum will resume their military history lecture series this year. They plan to hold 4 lectures. In the past, the township sponsored these lectures on CNET. The board is being asked to consider this sponsorship for 2022. And just as a reminder, the township is not charged directly for the sponsorship. It counts in our rolling total of programs, which is how CNET then determines our fee every year.
I'll move. So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to a request, for the CNET sponsorship. Any comments? Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Memorial Day street closing.
Memorial Day is back. It is back. So we need you to approve the street closures.
Hold on. Did anybody has any streets on there that they saw that they don't want closed or they didn't like the times?
They're all the same that we've done in years past.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make it.
Okay, I got a motion. Do I got a second?
Second.
Second.
I'll give it to Bruce.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good, we passed that. Okay, managers report.
I just have 2 things. Number 1, the playground equipment is being installed at Nittany View Park, and we have a resident whose grandson loves big trucks and has been sitting outside watching the big trucks all day. And I have to thank Dottie Delafield because she's been sending me pictures and video all day long, which is great. So they should be there all week and hopefully be done at the end of the week. I went up with the dog and inspected after work, and it is starting to look good. I'm very excited. And that's been a long time coming, so we're very happy to get that moving. It's been 2 years in the process. And yes, we will get your wife's swings installed at Country Place Park. I'll take care of that.
wanted to make sure that was
It has not fallen off the radar screen.
Okay.
And then, actually, I'm going to lie, I have 3 things. Number 2, the Village Parking Committee met last week and had a pretty lengthy discussion at the fire hall about using off-site shared parking. I think we had a very good discussion with the fire company and also one of the 2 churches, St. John's. They're continuing their work. They're targeting this summer, probably June, July timeframe, to be able to present a report to you guys with a toolkit with some options for how we think we should move forward with the parking conundrum. So that's a good thing.
Is the Lutheran Church involved in that too?
I invited the Lutheran Church. They did not come to the
No.
meeting.
That doesn't mean they're not interested.
I never heard back from
Okay.
them, but I did invite them. And lastly, we have been once again named a Tree City USA. So our Shade Tree Commission is to be commended for all of their efforts in helping promote our trees and keeping our trees so nice in the township.
All the ones right by the municipal building need to stand straight on.
Thank you, because I don't want to lose my tree.
We're not losing that tree.
No, chain myself to
One
it.
comment on the Village Conservancy working on plans for day in town.
Yes, sir.
Jeff Fisher bent my ear today. Costs are way up, and he wants to come
You
back.
say costs are way up?
Costs are way up.
Okay.
He wanted to
Charge
come
more.
back and see me. Huh?
Charge more.
He asked if we would entertain seeing him, and I told him to put numbers together and get them to us so we could look at it.
One of the significant
So-
costs is the cost of the ambulance has gone way up.
Yes, the ambulance has
And we
gone-
have to do the ambulance because of the Title 35 stuff. So I told Jeff that he should get on maybe next month's agenda and ask you guys if you.
Well, here's I had a thought on that too, because I'd gone to the EMS legislative
works now.
breakfast. Well, no,
Oh.
and during that, Lifelink isn't supported by anybody, although we could support them. So I'm wondering if we couldn't put some kind of agreement together where we give them a donation each year or whatever, and we get free ambulances for
Well, we
Memorial
would
Day.
do that if they would give us a finance report and they refused to do that.
Oh,
Well, back many days when LifeLink was in the process of relocating, they put this appeal process together. And Harris Township kicked in $86,000.
When we asked for a look at a finance report, we didn't see it.
That's right. We've asked, I don't know how many times back years ago to see where that money went. It never arrived.
You used to make me send letters asking if you didn't have to pay the rest of the money too.
Pardon?
You used to make me send a letter every year asking if they still needed the rest of your money too.
Well, I mean,
And they probably said yes.
They did. They paid
That's
it.
what over the dam, but you know, there were some hard feelings with respect to all the municipalities throwing money into building a new building, and there wasn't a lot of acknowledgement made that.
Well, how much does the ambulance cost?
The ambulance is expensive because we need
What is
it.
expensive?
Well,
100?
I don't, let me see if I have it in my email. He said that we need it for like 10 hours and it was a ridiculous amount of money.
10
I mean, not ridiculous. I'm not saying the ambulance shouldn't cost money.
10 hours?
4 10-hour shifts?
No, it was just one day. We
just have to
have it for the day count, right?
Yeah, it's for the day, the whole day.
Doesn't the fire department pick that up part of the festival?
That's
We don't
not,
require
we're only
that.
looking at Monday.
I think they come down and just sit there. We don't pay them anything.
That's right.
I can't find it in my email.
And if they came to
Well,
Bolsberg, you just sat there.
We need to,
There you
we'll
go.
need to look at that, I guess, I told Jeff to.
Well, I'd like to look at that too. I'd like
Yeah.
to see it successful, but I'd like to see what this, what the necessity is for
I mean,
us.
when we did the Linden Loop for 10 years, I simply called Kent and asked for an ambulance to come to Stan Smith's barn. And they came, and there was never a exchange of funds.
Yeah, they exchange funds now. They require money.
We fed them.
They give them a hot dog, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What, Jeff is gonna approach us sometimes, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I told him that he should send me an email and we can put him on an agenda. I don't know
Yeah,
why I
well,
can't.
I'd like to have a
like that.
budget, look at their budget too, if that's possible.
We can talk about Center Life thing.
No, look at
Jeff
the in town, whatever they call themselves.
Whatever.
Well, remember they didn't have it though for 2 years, so.
I agree.
But didn't we reimburse them for lost revenue?
No,
We did the fire department.
no.
No,
Fire department got CARES money.
we got other money, yes.
They got
Okay.
money from the county.
So we could use part of our,
We're using our ARPA money for Mary Elizabeth Street.
all of it?
We're getting 632,000 and that
Let's
project's
see what his
640.
Look at the numbers and get some,
Yeah, let's see what his
Yeah.
request is. I mean, I'd definitely like to see it succeed, and
So would you like me to invite Jeff to come next month?
Yeah,
Sure.
if you
Put
want
that
to.
on the
Just
agenda?
wants to come,
Bring
but
some
yeah,
numbers.
we need to hear, I mean, we
Bring
can't
some
just say,
numbers.
yeah, give you money without no.
Bring
like,
some
let's-
numbers.
Yeah, bring some numbers.
open discussion.
Anything else for the manager's report?
I'm glad to see number 5's moving.
see our manager's gonna go party on St. Patrick's Day?
I'll be at the
I
Penn
saw
Theater.
that.
I'm not
And,
exactly partying.
You looking for replies in number 7?
Yes, number
Oh,
7.
I already signed
It's
up.
on my calendar, so,
Did you sign up?
I signed up online.
Okay, yeah, I need to register you, Denny.
if you would, please.
Envision,
Yeah,
you need to go to that.
Yeah, put me up, put me in for that.
Okay, and I did send you the email, are having the State College Area Connector public meeting for the elected officials and the appointed officials on March 30th from 6:30 to 8:30 at Mountain View.
That's part of my report.
Channel 6 News tonight.
Well, they're having that's
That's
separate.
another one? I didn't have, I didn't have.
Yes, another one coming. But that's part of my report.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to steal
That's the first I heard of that one, so, okay.
All right,
Frank.
let's move on then. We'll go to approval of vouchers.
I'm ready to make that motion
Go ahead.
for $302,359.18.
Adoption number 2022-2.
Thanks for filling that in.
And I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any questions or comments?
We'll do them while I got a question later on.
Okay. I have one. And it's more of a State College Borough Water Authority. Fire hydrant, 17,100. Is that the tax that we collect on that?
So, yes, remember I
I
brought up,
understand that, but if we're paying them that much and now they're telling us they're gonna raise the
Yeah.
maintenance on fire hydrants again, we need to look at this.
that's what I brought up last month, and I'm very
Where
concerned
did you see
about it.
17,000?
Right here. Fire hydrants, 17,136.
We pay them
It's on
quarterly.
page, what the,
That's a quarter, it's $10 a month or something like per hydrant or something like that right now.
it's,
We have to update our hydrant.
so next to the last page. There he is, right. You already have a red line on it.
Well, that's been the council.
Okay. So when we said that last month, did we write them a letter or
We
our
have
rep-
not. We had our representative did some research. We should see. I did bring it up with the other managers, and they said they didn't think there was a whole lot we can do. I don't know that I agree. I want to look up.
Let's write a letter. I think we should write a letter.
Give us an invoice if they're gonna do something.
Yeah.
They don't. It's a flat fee.
Well, they're an authority, and they have the authority to do that.
I know they can,
But
but
then
we
we have
can
the
request
authority.
you know,
Then we should have the authority to ask for
and
documentation.
how come we don't get a vote on the authority?
They did, I mean,
We do.
a couple years ago, Brian did break out,
No.
Brian Heiser did break out how much it costs per hydrant. It, excuse me, a lot of it is not the actual maintenance on the hydrant, it's the water service fee. So I suggested to Brian, he needs to break that out and bill us separately. Like, I understand there's that, because we technically can pass the cost on to the ratepayers, people that live around the fire hydrant. I will say that we haven't updated our fire hydrant list in the 17 years I've been here, and we were gonna do that this year, and we got the letter too late because of the postal service, so we'll do it for next year. But I don't think we should pass $400 a hydrant on to the people around each hydrant. That's a lot of money.
So in theory, the authority's being paid twice.
No, I don't think they're
For
being,
the water running through the hydrant.
I don't think they're being paid twice.
The customer is paying as it comes to their house. They're being paid, the water authority is being paid, and then they're billing us.
Customer's not paying for the
For water?
hydrant. No, not for the water to the
Indirectly,
hydrant.
they are, because it passes through the hydrant.
They're paying for the water to
Didn't we
the
used to
house.
charge them for a little bit of something?
We do, we have a tax and we have to update the list.
Right, that's the tax we're talking about.
But we can't, we've been splitting it, and I don't think we're allowed actually under this Pennsylvania law to split it.
Well, the other thing I mentioned is that a hydrant, if you live in the rural parts of the township, the hydrant in Aspen Heights is of benefit to Linden Hall. In fact, the Aspen Heights hydrant was used to fight the fire at the Lingle farm.
So we've been paying.
So there's an interesting loop of,
We've been paying 1/4 out of the general fund and 3/4 out of the fire hydrant assessment. I will tell you, we don't have enough money in the fire hydrant fund to pay the whole thing this year, to pay 3/4.
When does that due?
We get billed every quarter.
So we didn't
So
know this,
basically,
did
this
we
is-
not know this, we did our
more of
budget?
them?
No, we did not.
So that's
Okay, so this is
68.
not on our budget.
No, so
68,000?
we found out after because
Yes.
Mike Smith called me our representative.
Yeah.
I would recommend that you have Mike Smith and Brian Heiser come to your next meeting and you talk about it.
Does Mike Smith get a vote?
No, we don't have a vote. Remember, we're a
Not the
liaison.
water authority, no.
Well, that's what I'm saying, we need a vote.
Well, that, unless you're in the borough.
Yeah, we don't
yeah.
get
Well, we need to petition the borough to get a vote.
We're not going
They
to.
won't do
We
that.
tried
Oh,
that
we
for
didn't do
years.
So that, we're paying 17,000 times 4?
Yes,
68,000.
it's gone up. I can give you a list of how much it's gone up because it jumped.
Amy, why don't you look at the ordinance out, or whatever that direction is, they're not allowed to charge more. than
That's
the
what I
cost.
wanted to look up because
Yes.
that's what I brought up to the other managers.
I see that.
And it went up it was like to $200 in 2019, and then it went up to $300, and now it's like $400. It's a lot of money. It's
I
gone
think-
up.
Yes, I think we need to pursue this.
And if they were being broken by cars hitting them and replacement, I could think that. But if they're,
That's just a. this
if
is
they're
just a
not
payment.
working, to replace them, but, give us some documentation of what kind of costs we're,
I'll invite them to the April meeting along with Mike
fine.
Smith.
All right.
Evan brings a bottle of water.
Any other questions on the vouchers? Did everybody look at Amy's credit card to make sure it was okay?
Stop. Denny, did you have a question? You said.
I gave you a yes on number 7, that was it.
What's number 7?
That's the, league.
Oh yes, I got that.
That's it.
That was the last agenda item.
I
All those in
thought-
favor of approving the vouchers signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
All right.
Any opposed? None. Move on. Okay. Cog Committee reports. Executive Committee, Bruce, I attended that for you last time, and I brought up some of the things that we discussed at the Cog meeting.
Didn't go over well.
It didn't go over well.
It didn't go over well.
No, it didn't go over well.
What?
They didn't like me. The last Executive Committee meeting, when I made the comments about the procedural thing, and what was the other? The other was two
Yeah,
things.
both.
Yeah.
Two.
So that was pretty much it, but the rest of it was what they brought up at there, so I didn't have anything else. Bruce, we're going to Parks Capital Governance and Regional Parks Authority. That's you. Do you have anything on that?
The Parks Capital Committee, after arguing in January that they needed to meet every other month, canceled this month's meeting. Parks Governance Committee did not meet last month. They will be meeting next week. And that reminds me, I got some homework to do before that meeting. So, but things will be getting underway. and I think we'll make good progress both this month and in the coming months. I did not attend the authority meeting, but I did review what went on at the meeting. It was at 4:00 in the morning. The winter sports have been active and good. The Winter Carnival at Blue Spring Park attracted between 500 and 600 people in spite of the frigid weather. Whitehall Road Regional Park, Stahl Schaefer is contracting to continue providing engineering services. They've been involved with that project from day one, so they're an important linchpin in tying everything together. Millbrook Marsh Nature Center is working on the sidewalks. That's pretty simple, not very problematic there, but also the boardwalk. And because of environmental concerns, that's going to be a complicated and extensive process to work through. Want to be able to get that machinery in there without screwing up the environment. We're trying to display to people and let people appreciate. Finally, they're working on a capital improvement program. Been looking at, there's been a supply problem all across the board on getting equipment and stuff. Hopefully that starts to straighten itself out this year. But their goal is to get good numbers to the municipalities in terms of what we're looking at down the road. Currently, the plan is running a 5-year plan, and the park agency is looking to expand that into giving us a 10-year outlook on their proposed or anticipated capital requirements. So that's it for parks.
Okay, I guess I'm next. Center County MPO, we did meet, and it was quite a long meeting. We set up our new officers for the year. They didn't change, but we set them up anyway. A couple things that we did, we took the performance-based planning program and adopted our goals for this year, what you have to do with the federal things. That's part of what they're doing with funding. Just to show you the difference. Oops, I went to the wrong place. We are now, where are we at here? I think we're 11, our goal is 11 traffic deaths on the Center County. The goal. And that, just to show you where that came from, the goal in 2018 was 17. So
did we meet our goal?
Yeah, well, it's coming down. That's the point. It's a 5-year rolling average, and it is coming down, which is a good thing. So that is helping. That's helping, but it's kind of a double-edged sword. When it gets down so low, then it just kind of goes back up, because if you have deaths below your target, which, like I said, it's a 5-year rolling average. We did that. We had a report on the transportation funding, the new federal transportation funding, and how that's working. We reviewed and updated the 2021-2024 TIP with the new monies that are going to be coming in. A few things are getting added into the program because new monies have come in. The 2023-2026 TIP was also looked at, again, pretty much for the same thing. There's some updates on there. Mary Elizabeth Street is on there for 2023. So just so you know that is in the process. It is on the tip.
Get new lights in.
Well, I'm just telling you. This was and that was pretty much it. The only thing I brought up at the members report was I discussed the road diet, how there's more support community-wise than there was when they did their survey several months ago. And I think after last week's unfortunate accident, there may be even more support to do that. So that was what MPO was. The rest of it, excuse me, facilities did not meet, public safety did not meet, and State College Area Connector, the Pell Study, there's an open house for the public on the 5th of April from 3 to 8 up at the Harvest Fields Church. And we have one on 320.
There's another one.
No, that's for everybody, the 4 or 5. 11 on the 30th from 6:30 to 8:30. That's for us. And where's that at? That's
at Mountain View.
There going to be reminders sent on that?
Yes, we'll make sure.
I emailed you today about
What's it, Mountain View?
I have to
Elected
RSVP,
Okay.
so you have to let me know if you want to go.
I haven't seen it. I didn't open my computer this afternoon, so. Okay.
All right, and that's all I have. So next on the thing is Human Resources.
Did
Nigel.
not meet this month.
Okay. Okay, then that would take us to land use and
Land use,
infrastructure.
okay, we started with a discussion having involved the county planning office, Liz Luce and Peter Butler, talking about broadband internet study that they are currently doing, basically determining likes, dislikes, cost, where it's available, and they'll get a report to us in May from a consultant. Spent a lot of time talking about the Center Region Bike Plan maps. Each municipality has 2 maps and a sheet of current and proposed bike paths, and that's here. We talked about a resolution for designating May as Bike Month, and had comments on the Act 537 sewage facility plan for the Meeks Lane pump station. So we had a busy day and had a good session. The solar power did not meet.
Solar power did not meet. Okay, finance, Mr. Graham.
Well, we did meet, and we basically discussed our budget process for the coming year. The staff had some suggestions to change it a little bit, but in the bottom line, when it come October, when rubber meets the road, that's where we gotta look at the budget. So how they get there, maybe a little different, maybe a little better for them, but we shall see. It's interesting, we've had, at that meeting, we had 2 gentlemen that were out of, tonight we have a gentleman that's out of town. That meeting had 2 people, one was in Massachusetts, someplace else, I don't know where he was. And I went to the climate action, we had a chair, was in Massachusetts. So we're all over the United States right about now.
Like Australia.
Yeah,
all around.
Australia.
In Australia, yes. So that was Finance Committee, very uneventful there. Climate action, sustainability, we talked about a couple of different things. They're going to present to the general forum that we join I think it's solar action. It's the same thing as the bike. We get a bronze, gold, or medal. Depends what we do. I think we qualify for the middle one, which is bronze already. So that's going to come to the general forum. And they're going to form a technical advisory committee. It's unclear who's going to be on that or who can be on it. I think it's pretty much anybody that wants to be on it. My suggestion is that we pick a certain number rather than 20, maybe 7, 8, 9, 10, or whatever it is, and have them submit resumes. And I also, and I don't know how this became agreed upon, that we have representatives for the oil companies or fossil fuels on that committee as a balancing act, and with some ideas. So that's coming.
What is this committee?
Huh?
What's this committee for?
I don't know yet. It's a technical advisory committee,
Okay.
and they would advise us. There hasn't really been hashed out what their goal is going to be. It's going to be, I guess, how we can reach certain goals we want to do. I think it's a way to get the community involved, and I like it. And I think we need to open up for discussion. And my suggestion was that we get at least representatives from the gas and oil people there, or electric people, more than just local residents that have some good ideas. The Bolsberg Heritage Museum will be opening up. I forget the day. I think it's May something. They have a few things planned. We have a very active board this year, so we should see some action there. I don't know what our fundraiser is going to be. I don't know that we're going to have as much as the outside stuff we had. We shall see. So there. Now I have one more thing. Okay. I wasn't paying attention during the manager's report. The Pittsburgh, we're way ahead of everybody. Okay. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, on track for fewer car lanes, more focus on parks and bike lanes. This is Pennsylvania Avenue in Washington, D.C. So we beat them out on this. So it's an interesting article. It's a popular item. So we are way ahead of the curve on doing about what a lot of the cities are doing, a lot of towns are doing, is making fewer cars, fewer car lanes, and parks and bike lanes. And what do they want to pop up? Businesses or whatever. That's under the manager's report.
One interesting spin-off. On the November zoning permit, we had 3 solar installations.
I saw that one.
Yeah, and you know.
57,000 on one,
50,000. Andy's
27 and 50. 3 in 1 month is pretty good.
Well, and Andy Freeman is 27. I think he's using his own people.
I'm sure of that.
Is that listed as that Bailey Lane one?
What's that?
Yes, that's
Andy's right here.
Bailey? Okay.
Yeah, Billy. Yeah, I thought 50 and 50 cents, that's a lot of money.
That's a 49-year payback.
Yeah.
Let's see, and I'm 78, so let's see, how many years I...
Okay, couple, on one thing I wanted to bring, is the Environmental Action Board that we want to discuss, is that still on our
Yes,
radar?
I was gonna, we got obviously waylaid with the rural zoning stuff and the village parking stuff. We've been kind of busy, but yes, I was gonna put that on either for next month or the following month.
All right.
We did get a comment from a resident who's concerned about the amount of grass that is being mowed in our parks. So I was communicating with him and telling him that we're doing some areas no mow in some of our parks, and he would actually be probably a good one to see if we could recruit him onto our environmental advisory council if we do create that. I think that Nigel.
Technical advisory committee.
Nigel knows who I'm talking about. So.
Okay, now that we've got all that through the agenda, Bud, your two items, illumination and artesian.
Oh, well,
what is your, what do we need to do?
Well,
What
the
do you wanna
first part,
proceed?
we noticed in the sign ordinance, it's a very good sign ordinance, but I think we need to look at the illumination part of it. When we went through this before, I thought something was in there that was discussed about how signs are lit up and how where they are as far as illumination to the sky, to the sides, everywhere. And one thing that was suggested the last time, which is how many years ago? You use downlit signs. In other words, if you have a sign, and believe me, I know how important signs are to businesses, and to everything else. But a downlit sign with the light shining on it rather than out of it, something like that. Because we're getting our small area plan down here. We're getting 2 car companies down here. We're starting to get developed businesses on down the road. And I think somewhere along the line we need to look at concern about illumination. We successfully fought a sheets canopy type canopy. We successfully beat that because they wouldn't do anything other than just a blare. So we need to look at that again. It might be a simple word changing in that one little paragraph inside illumination where no upward signs, no whatever.
Is this something we want to shoot at the planning commission, because that's where it'll start?
Well, I think we
wait.
should give them some suggestions, yes.
So we have to actually update our sign ordinance anyway to comply with the Gilbert Supreme Court case. So that's something that is on Gilbert Supreme Court case. It deals with the content of a sign and how you can regulate things.
Thanks to College Township.
So Gilbert in Arizona, but we were,
okay.
it's a Supreme Court case, and we've had this actually on the Planning Commission's work plan for a couple years now, and so it is our goal to get that done. It'll be done primarily with the solicitor, but we can look at I have Ferguson Township sign ordinance, and we can look at the illumination issue.
The signage is okay except for the legalese of that.
Should we talk about it and give them some ideas, or is that?
No, I think what we'll do is at the staff level, because this is sort of my thing to run with the solicitor to get the language straight on the, to make it comply with the Supreme Court case. We can look at what our colleagues have done in the center region and see what they have in their ordinances, because certainly Patton and Ferguson have much more larger commercial areas than we
Well,
do.
drive out there one time, you'll be happy with what you see.
Since we did our sign, we did not have LEDs when we did this how many years ago? The intensity of LEDs need to be looked at in
You
terms of
can
lumens.
you can easily let a sign come in, yes.
So that's
yes.
That's part of the review.
You're conflating the two, that there's the sign ordinance and then there's the lighting ordinance. The lighting ordinance deals with the
Well, the lighting
LEDs.
ordinance is okay because that doesn't address illuminating signs.
Okay, we'll look at it.
Okay.
That's definitely on our list.
And the other one was the discussion on the peddler's license. Now, we're talking about having booths, or if they have a booth. Now, to me, that's not part of the peddler. The peddler license is stand alone. It's very good. It can stand alone. It's designed to protect, but I think we need to look at the artisans or different type of people. We need to have a different category for them rather than put them in the peddler's license.
So-
Peddlers are the ones that come to my house trying to sell signals and windows.
Yes,
Those are the-
yes.
yeah.
And vacuum cleaners and whatever, yes.
So Todd is still on the Zoom, and I know that we were gonna look into, we talked last month, and you guys had said about looking into an annual license for folks that are coming into town and wanna be a temporary vendor. That's what I think a artisan would fall under. They're a temporary vendor. They're setting up shop.
It doesn't fit the peddler's license at all. Okay.
Can Helen significant Clara?
His wife,
She sent
Claire.
us a really nice message
Yeah, she
a
did.
couple weeks ago about that, so.
We had a comment about that.
And who is looking at that? Todd? or-
Todd has been looking at that. He's done a fair bit of research over what our neighbors are doing. So we just, like I said, we got waylaid this past 2 months with getting the rural zoning stuff done.
We're
So
done with that. Okay. So, all right, so you're looking at at both the illumination and sign ordinance and the yeah, them guys.
temporary vendors, just
Yeah,
say
them
temporary
guys.
vendors.
Artisans. So you're looking at that stuff. So we are looking at all that, and it will be on a future
Yeah, future agenda.
agenda. Okay. Anybody have anything else?
No, but thank you,
Good of the order?
thank you for the support on the markers.
Anybody have, Bruce, you have anything from down under? Is it happy hour yet?
You're on mute.
Oh, you're on mute.
We are good.
What time is it now, Bruce?
All right, what time is it? It's just past noon, 12:30.
Hey, it's happy hour. Hey, Bruce, are you gonna have enough fuel for you to fly back to America?
Hey, we bought our tickets before this mess.
Oh, okay.
You pat yourself on the back.
How's Jenny doing?
She's working hard.
Is she?
No, we're doing fine.
Good.
Ready to come home now. You guys, are we done with snow?
It's 50,
I hope
Yes,
so.
I am.
Hopefully.
It's 50 today.
50, 55 the next 3 days, so. And your sidewalk,
Yeah.
someone shoveled your sidewalk so it's clear, you're okay.
Yep. I want to come back for spring.
Bring us a wallaby.
A wallaby.
Bring us a koala.
Oh my God.
Koala.
We don't have any eucalyptus trees.
I would buy some.
Oh, gee.
I'm gonna pack because they're smaller and easier to pack.
Yeah, yes.
All right. If nobody has anything else, I'll motion.
adjourn.
Yeah. Okay. We got a motion to
Adjourn.
Adjourn. We adjourn. We're adjourned, Bruce. Have one on us.
All right.
Hey, do we have to sign that ordinance now?
Here you go.
No, I have to make the change in the ordinance.